morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are when you are joining me on the mat today, or not on the mat, because you certainly don't need one. And welcome to our discussion chat on the core, on what exactly the core muscles are, and a quick look at a couple of exercises that we can do just to keep our core nice and strong, if that's what we feel we need to do. So what is the core? Well, the core is a set of muscles in the trunk that helps to keep the body stable and support the body as we go through moves in our daily life and movements that start to extend through the arms and through the legs. So this trunk area is the key bit, and it's a bit like a box. So we've got the muscles at the back of the box, which are the muscles that run around the spine, along the spine. So we're going, they actually come from here down to here, from the top of the spine, which is where it comes into the skull, all the way down to the pelvis area. But the main ones that we're looking at, if we're talking about our trunk area, are the ones in the center here. We've got then the muscles around the side, which are our oblique muscles, the ones that I like to call the kind of like our waistline muscles, and they cross over from the sides and into the front and wrap around to the back as well. Then there are the six-pack muscles, the rectus abdominis muscles that go down the front, and you've got one to either side and they meet in the middle. And then underneath those are transverse abdominis muscles, and that's the real deep core muscle that quite often is the one that people, when they're told, oh, you need to strengthen up your core, that's the one, sort of the main one probably that we're thinking of. And that comes in from the back, wraps around the middle, from the top, from the rib cage down to the bottom of your pelvis. And it's underneath the six-pack, so you can't see it, but it's there. And that's super strong. And some people describe it as the pair of magic pants, in the idea that it kind of holds and squeezes everything in. So we've got our side muscles, our back and our front muscles, and then at the top of the box is the diaphragm. So not really too much that we can do with the diaphragm apart. You can do some strong breathing exercises, and that might kind of work the diaphragm a little bit more, but that's not really the one that people talk about when you're thinking of building up the core. But the one at the bottom of the box, pelvic floor muscle, that is an important one, and that can weaken sometimes and cause problems. So that's another one that we do need to think about when we're working. So we've got the top of the box, the bottom of the box, the sides, the front and the back. If you do want a detailed list of the core muscles as they are anatomically named, I will put them in the description below. But you don't need to worry too much about exactly what they're called. It's knowing where they are that's important. So if you think back muscles, obliques, your abdominals and your transverse, and then your pelvic floor, they're the main ones we're going to be looking to strengthen. So our pelvic floor and our transverse abdominis, we can do work to activate and fire up just while we're sitting or standing anywhere. So you could do it while you're cleaning your teeth, driving the car, waiting for the kettle to boil. You don't actually have to do a set of exercises just to engage and work with them. So our transverse abdominis muscle, I sometimes think of as the cough muscle, or it's one of the ones that you really feel when you laugh a lot. So harder to make you laugh, but easier just to ask you to cough right now. So if you cough, you'll feel a sensation of tightness down here, kind of just below where the navel, the belly button is. And that's the area that we're looking to engage when we think about firing up and activating our transverse abdominis core muscle. So if you think of breathing out, squeezing the belly button into your spine, but also into the back of the rib cage. So it's being drawn up and in to that kind of midpoint in the back, just in towards the bottom of the chest. So that's a way of getting that muscle to switch on, to fire up. And you can just keep on breathing out, squeezing in, letting it go as you breathe out, as you breathe in, breathe out, squeeze in, breathe in, let it go. And you can just keep on doing that as many times as you want, and that will just keep on firing up, and you'll know you're getting it working. The pelvic floor, which is literally that muscle, it's a sort of kind of like a diamond shaped set of muscles that sit at the bottom of the pelvis, towards the bottom of the pelvis, towards the top of the legs. And that one is kind of, it's harder to find, but if you were to imagine that you are trying to stop yourself from using the loo and squeeze that area in, that's the muscles that we're trying to work, and that's all you need to do to kind of think about firing up and activating it. So you can stand, you can sit, and just squeeze in from that area. I have been reliably informed, if you are a gentleman, to think nuts to guts is a good way of getting that area to fire up. So you can work with them independently. So you could think, breathe out, squeeze the belly in, let it go, breathe out, draw up on the pelvic floor, let it go, breathe out, belly core, breathe out, pelvic core. Or you can actually get them, the two coming together. So if you think of drawing up through the core and then squeezing that area here, as if you were drawing up on a tight pair of jeans with a zip, the belly button, so that idea of squeezing in and up into the back of the rib cage, and then you can actually think of coming all the way up and through and working them both together. So that can be a really useful thing to try at any time during your day, during the week, whenever you're kind of just not thinking about anything else, just standing, sitting, see if you can fire those areas up. And that's quite a good way to kind of then, if you know how to hold them and engage with them when you're just sitting or standing, when you come to do specific exercises where engaging the core, or your instructor, your class teacher, whoever it is stood in front of you, if you're in a gym or a gym class or a yoga class, Pilates class, says, right, pull up on the core, you know where you've got to engage. So thinking then about the bigger muscles then, the whole of that trunk area, there's some exercises that we can do to help strengthen. So our first ones, we're going to come up to standing and we're going to do some squats. So maybe just give your legs a little shake out, maybe take a little marching on the spot just to get the legs moving. If particularly like me, you've been kneeling for a moment and you feel like your legs have started to seize up. Okay. So we're going to start with our feet in underneath our hips, and we just want to think of the knees coming over the toes and the heels coming back. So for all of these exercises, we're just going to do 5 today. It might be that 5 is actually as much as you can manage, and then you can build up from there. If you're someone who's already quite fit and strong and 5 is too easy, then obviously when you put these into your routine through the week, you're going to do more than 5 reps, but we're just doing 5 to demonstrate each exercise today. So as you breathe out, so if you can just push your knees out over the toes, hips back, and we lift the arms up towards the ears. Breathe in, come up to standing. Now you don't have to come far, it can be a little bend. Or for number 3, we can try and come a little bit further down and make a bigger bend. Lifting the arms up is going to work the muscles in the back. We've got to squeeze in, so we're going to draw up with the pelvic floor and the belly. And we also get, we've got one more, some work then into the core. It also gives us a little bit of work into our glute muscles around the hip. And now our glute muscles aren't necessarily the trunk core, that box part of the core, but they are a sub sort of core muscle, and they're also quite useful to work on strengthening as well. So that's our first exercise, is our squats. We're then going to come down towards the floor to lie on your front. So the legs can roughly be in line with the hips, and we reach our hands round to the side of the leg. As you breathe in, just slide the fingers down to see if you can lift the chest. So again, this doesn't have to be a big movement, it could be quite little.
It might even just be a fraction up off the floor. Maybe you come up a little bit further. So we're doing 2 more for today. And you'll feel the muscles here working and those sub-core muscles in the glutes as well. Last one. And then when you've done those, it can be quite nice just to take a little stretch, send your hips back to the heels, come into a child's pose. And if you can't get your head to the floor, make a tower with your hands to rest your head on. Otherwise, the head can come down towards the mat and the arms just go wherever feels comfortable. So we've done our squat muscles, our squat exercises, 5 of those. That kind of just fires up at everything, gets the back, the belly, the pelvic floor working, and just taps into these sub-core glute muscles. We've done our specific back body exercises, which is going to get it into our core muscles that run along the spine. And like I said, they also help to get into our glute area, that sort of extra sort of core muscle bonus that we get. So our next one then is coming into a bit of a sit-up. So we reverse our sit-up and we do it actually from a seated position. So you can do it with knees bent or legs straight. It's totally up to you. Relax your shoulders, take your arms up, and then as you breathe in, we're just going to take a little C shape backwards as far as you can go. And then as you breathe out, you sit back up. But remember, we've got to use and engage though the deep transverse core muscles. Our abs are going to work to help us move up and down anyway. So as you breathe in, think of squeezing in and up into that point at the back of the rib cage. So it's mainly our belly muscles. So think belly button into the spine and into the back of the ribs. Come back as far as you can. Breathe out. Sit up. Now if you feel you can go all the way down, we can breathe in, come down. And then as you breathe out, chin to chest, peel the ribs up. Come up to sitting. So we're going to do 2 more for today. So we've got 4 and 5. And if you can't come all the way down, perhaps with a little bit of practice, it gets a little bit of easier. You do need some movement in the back for that one. So sometimes it doesn't matter how many times you do it. The back movement in the spine just isn't there, and you always stay part way, but it doesn't make any difference. If you can feel this area working here, it doesn't matter how far you come down to the floor. So that sit-up movement is what's going to get into the abdominal muscles on the front. Then we can come down to the floor. And we can take it into the same idea, but we're going to come up side to side. So again, we're working here with the knees bent. As you breathe out, roll the right arm across, chin to chest, peel yourself up to the left side, take it down. Breathe out, roll up. You can keep your left hand behind your head for a little bit of support. Take it back. If you're feeling stronger, maybe you reach both arms to the side. So this one is going to get into those oblique muscles at the side, as well as our transverse, deep transverse muscles. So any exercise where you are twisting will help tone, engage, and strengthen the oblique muscles on the side of the body. So once you've done your 5 to one side, we're going to work the other. So right hand behind the head, breathe out, reach the left hand across to the outside of the right knee. Remember, if you want to reach out with both hands, you can, or maybe you just have one hand on the floor. Let's go for one more. Okay, so that is our 3 essential or useful firing up muscles that we've got that can do for our core. We've got our squats, which works everything. We've got our back muscle exercise where we're lifting the chest up from the floor. And then we've got the sit-up variations that we do to get into the front and to the sides of the body. If you'd like a little bonus exercise to do, we're going to breathe out, think pelvic floor up, belly button in and up. So we've got that line running all the way up through the body and into the back of the rib cage. And then as you breathe out, just roll the tailbone up and lift the hips up. Breathe in. Take it down. So breathe out, roll up. Breathe in. Take it down. You can breathe the other way if you wish. You could try and breathe in to come up. And then breathe out. But by lifting those hips up, we've got the core, those sub-core muscles that we were talking about, our glute muscles working. One more. And we keep that pelvic floor and transverse abdominis muscle engaged the whole time. So we've got our, I suppose you could say we've got 4 key ones because we do our sit-up and then we do our sideways sit-up or crunches. So 3 to 4 there, and then the bonus bridge exercise as well. So try and add those. If you want to strengthen your core, try and add those exercises in. Do them 2 or 3 times a week. They don't have to be done every day. Do them 2 to 3 times a week. Like I say, build up. Start off just aiming to get to 5 of each. If you can't manage 5 and you only manage 3, it's a start. We all have to start somewhere. And if you know if you're feeling fitter and stronger and you can do more than 5, build it up. So you might do 3 sets of 5 to start, or maybe even just 1 set of 5. Then you go to 3 sets of 5, and then you can build it up to 3 sets of 7, 3 sets of 10, 3 sets of 12. And so on. And they can be slotted in any time during the day. So it might be squats a set of squats where you wait for the kettle to boil. It might be some sit-ups and some rolling crunches side to side as you wait for your computer to switch on, and then maybe you do some back exercises just as you get into bed. It doesn't even have to be all done at the same time. But remember, only ever take each exercise as far as your body feels comfortable. Smaller movements that keep you safe and keep you moving and fire up those muscles are a lot safer than bigger movements that cause you to injure yourself. All right, okay, remember, if you have any questions, leave them below. Give a thumbs up if you found this video useful and you like it, and remember to subscribe to the channel, because then you'll know when our Pilates and yoga classes are coming out each week. All right, take care then now. Bye.